I'm not. This is horrible. This is painful. And this is humiliating for any human being.
No one had ever, in 5 decades, accused Johnny Depp of being violent with a woman. And no one had even suggested ever that he was capable of something like this.
Defamation trial centred around an article she wrote saying he was abusive to her. If she's saying, again, he abused her, could she be sued?
She's getting herself in trouble here, yeah, because she's coming out and saying they had a trial. The jury found that she did defame him, and yet here she is defaming him again. So, but her whole purpose behind this, the reason she wrote the article, remember they had divorced in 2017, things were over. She said, I want him to move on, I want to move on. But then she wrote this article, and she's been poking the bear ever since because she still wants him in her life, even if it's in a negative way. And
I'm also more honored that because, you know, what we're talking about is so important and so meaningful, that we're able to have this much anticipation and so many people want to go see it and are talking about it. Like, that's what I'm grateful for.
And you had a key part in bringing it to the big screen. How did this all come to be?
Well, in 2019, I read the book. I was sent the book by my book agent and friend at the time, and I was looking for films that could inspire, that were commercially viable, but also could really like reach in and touch somebody's heart.
Talking like this, me into my phone at 2 a.m, but largely via text and voice note. And I will be honest with you, that is not my biggest strength. I love being with people and being in somebody's space and being face to face, and I feel like that's where I excel, and definitely fallen short at times in our text and voice note exchanges because there's so much to communicate and there's so much happening, and all that to say, I'm just really looking forward to spending time together, and I think that's going to really go a long way for our chemistry, which I believe is there, has been there from the start. So I was so damn excited when you wanted to do this film. I felt it in the room when we met, and yeah, I think it does come from the both of us being hardworking and having a vision and not settling.
Oh, baby, Hollywood scandals don't just disappear quietly. They blow up into messy, career-ending legal showdowns. And just when folks thought the industry had caught its breath from Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's courtroom chaos, another A-list feud has rocked the block. This time, it's all eyes on It Ends With Us, the film adaptation of Colleen Hoover's chart-topping novel. But instead of fans swooning over a dreamy on-screen romance, they're caught up in a real-life showdown between its biggest stars, Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. What was supposed to be a career-defining moment has turned into a whole legal and personal nightmare, sending shockwaves through Hollywood. Blake, America's golden girl with a flawless rep, and Justin, the actor-director who had big plans for this movie, are now at each other's throats in a behind-the-scenes battle that's giving folks flashbacks to Depp versus Heard. At first, everything looked like a fairy tale. Fans were hyped over Lively landing the lead, calling her the perfect pick. Meanwhile, Baldoni, not just staring but also directing, seemed locked in on bringing the book's deep, emotional layers to life. But while everything looked picture-perfect on the outside, behind the scenes, baby, it was a ticking time bomb. The tension had been bubbling under the surface, and before long, those little cracks in their so-called dream collaboration split wide open. At first, it was just whispers, on-set drama, creative clashes, behind-the-scenes friction making things messy. But by the time 2024 wrapped up, those quiet rumors had erupted into something way more sinister, a scandal big enough to take the whole movie down. Then came the bombshell. Blake Lively took it to the next level, filing a formal complaint with the California Civil Rights Department, shaking the industry to its core. Allegedly, she accused Baldoni of straight-up inappropriate behavior, sexual harassment, and creating a toxic work environment that made filming unbearable. And Sis did not stop there. She also claimed that when she refused to tolerate his antics, Baldoni clapped back, allegedly making things even worse on set, turning the whole production into a nightmare. Now, Hollywood is in shambles. Insiders say legal teams are in full panic mode, and the fate of It Ends With Us is dangling by a thread.
Read it, because I was looking for movies that could
be commercial and speak to the human experience. And
Were you reading romance novels?
And I had never read a romance novel.
Never?
And she said, just trust me, read it. So I read it, and by the end of the book, I couldn't even read the text on the page because I was crying so much. My wife was in bed next to me, and she's, I got snot coming out of my nose.
But there's no hesitancy. I'm happy to send it to you. And I'm sorry that has happened to you before. And I hope after this experience, there will be a new, I don't know, I hope it'll be healing in some way. Because that's all I want. I want this movie to be healing. I want this movie to be commercial, just like you, and affect people and touch people. And I want to walk you through my whole plan and the work that we're doing with the domestic violence partner that we found, No More, and just my vision. And I just know that this can be really, really special, and it's going to be special. And you're the secret sauce, and we're the secret sauce. And anyways, I have so much more to say. I'm going to stop rambling because, Jesus Christ, it's been 6 minutes and 30 seconds, so me. I'm sorry. You probably have kids all over you and a baby on your boob, and you're listening to me ramble at 2 in the morning. I hope you're feeling better, and give Ryan my love. Thank you for sending me that. It means the world to me that you trust me with your feelings and your thoughts like that. And I can't wait to spend more time with you. Okay, I'm done. Cutting myself off. Good night.
Can this movie even survive the mess it's in? Will Hollywood rally behind Lively, or is Baldoni about to hit back with his own jaw-dropping receipts? One thing's for sure, this legal showdown is just getting started, and the fallout could be nasty. What was once hyped as one of Hollywood's biggest releases has now turned into a full-scale courtroom brawl. Allegations are flying, reputations are dangling by a thread, and some of the industry's biggest power players are watching this play out like it's must-see TV. What started as a simple book-to-film adaptation has spiraled into a scandal so explosive it could make or break careers. The accusations sent Hollywood into a full-on meltdown. Blake Lively? She had always been the untouchable one. Zero scandals, no controversy, not even a hint of mess to stain her perfect image. She was adored, respected, and protected. So when she finally spoke out and dropped these bombshell claims, the industry was shook. Nobody saw this coming. And then there's Justin Baldoni, the Hollywood good guy, the self-proclaimed feminist, the man who built his whole brand on uplifting women. His carefully curated image, gone in an instant. Fans, colleagues, and industry insiders were left gagged. How could he, the so-called good guy, be at the center of such explosive accusations? Was his whole nice guy act just a front? But just when it looked like Baldoni's career was on life support, he pulled a move that nobody saw coming. He didn't just deny the claims, he clapped back hard. And not just with words, but with a massive legal counterattack that had Hollywood shaking. Instead of laying low or settling things behind closed doors, Baldoni swung, hitting Lively with a jaw-dropping $400 million lawsuit, and he did not stop there. He dragged her husband, Ryan Reynolds, into the mess. Oh, and their longtime publicist, Leslie Sloan? She's in the legal crosshairs too. In a wild twist, Baldoni claimed Lively made the whole thing up as a power grab to take control of It Ends With Us. But that wasn't all. He accused her, Reynolds, and Sloan of plotting to wipe him from the project, destroy his name, and end his career for good. And just like that, the entire narrative flipped. What started as the Me Too-style workplace scandal had officially mutated into an all-out Hollywood war. Two A-list stars, once collaborators, were now locked in a brutal career-ending battle, each one swearing they were the real victim. It didn't take long for the media to clock the obvious parallels. This was giving Depp vs. Heard all over again. The stakes? Astronomical. Reputations, careers, and hundreds of millions of dollars were on the line. Hollywood had been here before, and if history had taught us anything, it's that there's no clean way out of a war like this. So who's lying? Who's really the victim? And just how messy is this about to get? One thing's for sure, this ain't ending anytime soon. The Depp versus Heard parallels are impossible to ignore. That case followed the same blueprint. Shocking allegations, an industry thrown into chaos, and a courtroom circus that ripped apart Hollywood's carefully controlled image. At first, Amber Heard positioned herself as a survivor, dropping graphic claims of abuse at Johnny Depp's hands. And baby, the response was swift and brutal. Depp's career plummeted overnight. Studios didn't just distance themselves, they cut him off completely. He lost everything, including his legendary role as Captain Jack Sparrow, a character he spent years turning into a cinematic icon. Hollywood acted like he never existed. His name became radioactive, his legacy stained, And for a moment, it looked like there was no coming back. But then, everything flipped. As the trial played out, damning evidence surfaced. Recordings of Heard admitting to putting hands on him, text messages, witness statements, and that now iconic poop fiasco turned the whole narrative upside down. What started as a clear-cut victim to the abuser situation spiraled into a tangled mess of truth, lies, and straight-up public spectacle. And now, Baldoni versus Lively is shaping up to be just as explosive, just as messy, and just as career-ending. This ain't just about workplace harassment anymore. It's about power, reputation, and the cutthroat game of public perception. At first, Blake Lively had the world in her corner. She came forward, laid out her accusations, and painted herself as a victim of workplace misconduct and harassment. The media ate it up. Social media flooded with support. The Me Too movement, already responsible for toppling some of Hollywood's biggest names, seemed locked in on her side. It looked like an open and shut case. But then, the tide shifted. New details started trickling out, and suddenly folks were asking the hard questions. Was Lively being 100% truthful? Or had she played the Me Too movement like a chess piece to snatch control of the film and wipe Baldoni off the map? Was this really about harassment? Or was it a power move in an industry where only the ruthless survive? Now, everything is up for debate. And let's be real, Hollywood has seen this kind of scandal before. The industry lives for these messy battles where public opinion swings like a wrecking ball, crushing one career while reviving another. So now the real question is, who's Hollywood gonna side with this time? And when the dust finally settles, whose career is still gonna be standing? One thing's for damn sure, this fight is about to get uglier than anybody expected. Hollywood, officially at war.
And I'm also more honored that because, what we're talking about is so important and so meaningful, that we're able to have this much anticipation and so many people want to go see it and are talking about it. That's what I'm grateful for.
And you had a key part in bringing it to the big screen. How did this all come to be?
Well, in 2019, I read the book. I was sent the book by my book agent and friend at the time, and I was looking for films that could inspire, that were commercially viable, but also could really reach in and touch somebody's heart.
Talking like this, me into my phone at 2 a.m, but largely via text and voice note. And that, I will be honest with you, that is not my biggest strength. I love being with people and being in somebody's space and being face to face, and I feel like that's where I excel, and definitely fallen short at times in our text and voice note exchanges because there's so much to communicate and there's so much happening, and all that to say, I'm just really looking forward to spending time together, and I think that's going to really go a long way for our chemistry, which I believe is there and has been there from the start. So I was so damn excited when you wanted to do this film. I felt it in the room when we met, and I think it does come from the both of us being hardworking and having a vision and not settling.
The battle lines are set and nobody is holding back. Some industry insiders are 10 toes down for Blake Lively, arguing that Hollywood has always been a brutal place for women who dare to call out harassment, retaliation, and career sabotage. To them, she's yet another powerful woman standing up against a system designed to silence her. But others? They're riding hard for Justin Baldoni, convinced he's just the latest casualty of false accusations, another Johnny Depp in the making. They swear he's being set up, that this is all a carefully orchestrated takedown designed to erase him from the industry. With emotions on 10 and careers hanging in the balance, the court of public opinion is already on fire. And if Hollywood has learned anything by now, it's that social media is running the game. Every leak, every new piece of evidence, every legal twist is instantly dissected, debated, and turned into viral content. Fans are deep in the trenches, arguing in comments, analyzing body language in old interviews, and picking apart every shady little detail. And just when you think the chaos couldn't possibly get any worse, Ryan Reynolds enters the chat. With his name officially dragged into the lawsuit, this scandal just hit a new level of ugly. This is no longer just about Lively and Baldoni. Reynolds is one of Hollywood's most powerful figures. A box office giant, a marketing genius, and one of the few untouchable A-listers left in the game. His influence alone could shift the entire narrative. If he stands by Lively, the industry might go all in on holding men accountable. But if he goes to war alongside Baldoni, we could be looking at another Depp-level comeback. where public perception flips and everything changes again. So now the real question is, what happens next? The trial ain't even set to start until 2026, meaning Hollywood is about to be stuck in this tension for years. Careers are on the line, the internet is obsessed, and every move these two make will be picked apart like never before. If Baldoni comes out on top, this could set a major legal precedent, giving public figures more power to fight back against allegations they say are false. It could completely flip how Hollywood handles cases like this, shifting power away from accusers and making it way harder for victims to speak up without ironclad proof. But if Lively wins, whew, this will be a historic victory for the Me Too movement, a loud and clear message that Hollywood is doubling down on holding men accountable. It'll prove that powerful women can fight back and win, no matter who they're up against. But for now, all we can do is watch the storm gather. The fans are at war, social media is in flames, and both sides are gearing up for a battle that could make or break their careers. What started as a highly anticipated film adaptation has mutated into one of the biggest Hollywood scandals ever. Will this end in redemption or absolute career annihilation? Only time will tell. But one thing's for damn sure, this case ain't just about Lively and Baldoni anymore. The entire industry is watching. This case is about to rewrite the rulebook on celebrity lawsuits, shift how public perception shapes legal battles, and put a blinding spotlight on just how much power social media has in deciding who rises and who falls in Hollywood. With so much on the line, the industry's biggest power players are watching, waiting, and holding their breath to see who's walking away victorious and who's crawling away with a wrecked career. And trust me, you do not want to miss a second of this Hollywood-sized mess. So if you want to stay locked in on all the latest updates, go ahead and smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn those notifications on. Because this saga, oh baby, it's just getting started. And you already know, the next twist is gonna be even wilder. See y'all on the next one.